Welcome to a social reading of Crucial Conversations, the third edition, and we are in Chapter 1. Appropriately, what is a crucial conversation? Love starting the book that way. I also really like the quote, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it's taken place. And so I think starting with sanity checks about the basics is always a good move. And if someone is going through the basics with you, maybe resist feeling patronized, assume positive intent, assume they're just trying to set the table, as it were, before diving into a crucial conversation. Grinny et al. Emphasized that a crucial conversation are daily conversations that reshape your life. So even though they're crucial, they're going to be important, they need not be rare. I like the use of the italics in this paragraph. It prevents me from needing to underline. So they call out the criteria for a crucial conversation. One is that opinions vary. Two is that stakes are high. And three is that emotions run strong. I'm going to argue that emotions running strong is optional, so that even if you don't feel emotional, you still might want to assume that other people might be emotional, but that need not even be the case. So it might be the case that everyone has their emotions well regulated, but still stakes are high, opinions vary, so the conversation would be crucial. Again, what makes them crucial, I'm going to underline the outcome could have a huge impact. And it's important that the outcome could have a huge impact, even if the topic seems trivial. So a debate over cooking smells, he goes through this case of being at a dinner party at the apartment complex, and a neighbor is complaining about being allergic to stuff coming through the vent. So it seems like a trivial conversation, but the outcome could impact his daily life. I mean, if he gets kicked out of the complex. And I really like that we give a bunch of concrete examples. So we go through the criteria and then we lay out literally more than a dozen concrete examples. Love that approach. In this summary, it's going to say opinions are opposed. I want to call out that varying opinions need not imply opposing. So opinions varying is enough to have an outcome being largely impacted. So that even if you and your teammate agree, but there's a lack of alignment, that could importantly impact the outcome. So even if you agree, but it's a matter of confidence that someone is more bought in, that could still be a crucial conversation. Or even if you're 90% aligned, but there's one seemingly small detail, sometimes that is going to be lead to a big impact difference. So my reading, the summary is that high stakes is the key. Lag time is a factor. So this seems to be the leading factor in dealing with a crucial conversation. And reading through this narrative, I'm really seeing a lot of similarity to the book Radical Candor, which is a book that I appreciated. So it will be nice that these books are seeming to build on each other instead of argue with each other. That's always nice because then you can collect sort of meta information across books. This is just chapter 1, but we sort of get a taste of how we should be handling a crucial conversation. Take a deep breath. Announce to our inner self, this discussion is crucial. I'd better pay close attention and trot out my best behavior. Obviously, that lacks detail, but that gives us a taste, I think, of what we're going to read later. One of the themes of this chapter seems to be that a pitfall is avoiding a crucial conversation. I hope we deal with this later. Sometimes a crucial conversation isn't a top priority. You might have 5 crucial conversations, and you can only be having one of them at a time, or you might be needing to do some activity other than have a crucial conversation. We know that a crucial conversation is going to have a large impact, but you might be in a situation where any number of actions could have a large impact and the discussion isn't the top priority. So I hope that we deal with that later in the book. A couple of things that I kind of want to push back on. One is that when it matters most, we tend to do our worst. I don't know about this. I'd love a citation. I think there's many cases where someone under high pressure gives their best performance yet, like an athlete in a game, and that we're designed wrong, and even our evolutionary traits are bad. I think this is like lacking nuance. So something right here would be the fight or flight, but maybe the tendency to avoid a crucial conversation is a generally good test on priority. Maybe you don't need to have every conversation that seems important. Maybe you do want to narrow it down and double check and be sure, is this more important than the other conversation we could be having? Or is having any conversation more important in this moment than avoiding conversation and actually doing some action? Often actions are more important than talking. One of the signs that you're having a crucial conversation seems to be getting triggered, basically. They talk about adrenaline being shot into your bloodstream. I wonder if one of the solutions we're going to talk about is basically Bruce Lee's idea of basically never being triggered and always keeping calm. I anticipate that might be a solution, and that if we implement that solution, we can eliminate the emotional component of a crucial conversation. And so that goes back to the idea that a crucial conversation need not be emotional. Here's a very different pitfall. We might be stumped. Solving this seems to have to do with research, which is different than trigger regulation or emotional control, and that we act in self-defeating ways. Again, this is not merely a communication issue. I could be speaking perfectly to my teammates. We could be under emotional control. But if we merely lack information, the team might operate in a self-defeating way. So it seems that we're going to need a few tools in here, including research tools and more. Now the authors describe the value proposition of understanding crucial conversations. I love this. Your ability to increase your influence. I really like the clear value proposition. And by influence, they mean not just handle problematic situations, but indeed raise issues that otherwise wouldn't have been able to be raised at all. So that's going to be really important for leadership. And we get an answer to what do they mean by performance? It's key performance indicators, which is routine in corporate America, right? So this is a very relevant concept of performance, and it's also a very general concept of performance. And I was just blown away by the data they have here, including actually saving your life. So nurses speaking to doctors, later they'll go on to say that crucial conversation skills can improve patient outcomes like life expectancy by like 20%. We'll get to that in a minute. 80% of projects fail, and they have a technical definition of failure. Cost more than expected, produce less than hoped for, run significantly over budget. And so they're going to say that in organizations where people are able to candidly and effectively speak up, in other words, basically they can have crucial conversation skills, less than half is likely to fail. So that's a huge value add. And over 2,200 projects in this analysis. I'm looking forward to measures of having crucial conversation skill. I hope there's a certification. I'll look into that later. Many other value propositions, including 3 times more in virtual teams or remote first teams. Hugely important value proposition for some organizations. And I resonated with this leaders get it wrong. This is one of the reasons that I have an interest in being an engineering director, is doing things like layoffs better or not at all, ideally. The authors hint at the fact that 360 feedback is a best practice. They say that avoiding argument is not ideal, but handling argument is the thing that matters, how you handle it. And they go through all these value propositions, and I'm basically already sold, right? Including like reducing divorce. That's awesome. But if that wasn't good enough, health outcomes are impacted by communication skills, which at first seems outrageous. But on second thought, being able to communicate effectively to your doctor, to your nurses, and so on, you can understand how it would help. So life-threatening diseases in a traditional treatment setting, facilitators taught, A/B tested one group, crucial conversation skills, and that conversation had a 9% rate of death, basically, as opposed to 30. So a 2/3 decrease in death rate, which is just insane. Conclusion of this chapter, my summary: if the value propositions here are even half true, this is going to be an amazing book. Follow for chapter 2.